Thomas, good to see you. It feels a bit weird asking team news when the next match is 5 days away, but is there anything you can provide us? Any players closer to returning?
Yeah, team news same as before the Liverpool game. So everyone who's available there is available for the Crystal Palace game. Yes, five days away. Yeah.
Dominic Solanke, Dejan Kulusevski, how close are they to returning?
The same as I said before. Both of them, I will be very happy when I can announce now they are part of the squad. So that's where it is.
Does it feel close though for those two?
Nah, yes or no. I'm just, we speak about it all the time, and I know it's been a while. You've been here, so I'm just I think it's much better to speak about when they're available.
I think it was just my turn to ask.
Yeah, no problem.
Look, you're going to be without Xavi Simons. Were you considering as a club appealing the red card at all?
Yeah, I would like to do it, but I know it does make sense because the way the rules are, we can appeal, but we'll get nothing out of it, as I've been told. So that is what it is.
Okay. Look, Arne Slot made some comments about Micky van der Ven's challenge on Alexander Isak. He felt the challenge from Micky was reckless. Looking back at it, do you think that's something you agree with, or do you disagree with him?
No, I'm obviously disagreeing in many ways. I think we are talking about a defender in Micky van der Ven that will do everything he can to avoid the goal. So it's a transition, so he's sprinting back in. There's a ball slide down the side, and he does everything he can to see if he can block that shot, so he's sliding. Unfortunately, Isak's plant his foot straight there, and that makes it look worse than it is. I think that would be a natural reaction for any defender. Or I'll put it this way, if my defenders don't do that, then I don't think they are true defenders. So I don't see that at all. And I think reckless challenges, normally you haven't seen, I think, anyone from Micky, as I remember it. So I see him as a very fair and competitive player. So that's one thing. The other thing, I also know that the two players have sorted out. So that's a good sign of, how they sorted out. Or good sign.
And you're going to be without Christian Romero as well for the game against Crystal Palace. I know you spoke briefly about the fact not just the captain, but the whole players controlling their emotions in certain situations in games. Have you had a conversation with him specifically about his role as a captain, as a leader of the group, to lead by example in those situations?
Many times, but not, and also of course after this game, and not because it's Kuti. I speak to the players in general. As I said, I know it's we can put that label on when it's a captain. For me, all the players need to have a cool head and lead by example. You cannot have only one leader on the pitch. I know he's the one with the armband. So that's one thing. We're talking about a player, a very passionate player, that when he is at his absolute top, he carry the teams on his back like he did in the Europa League final. Without him, we wouldn't have won the trophy, like he did away to Newcastle, like he's done many times. When you're very passionate, sometimes you can maybe in few moments lack the extra coolness. Sometimes maybe something he's working on. I think you have a player where the second goal for me still is a clear foul. And okay, I haven't played on the highest level. Everyone who played on the highest level, if they know there's a foul, they know it's a foul, and the way he reacted, it's a clear foul. So he felt hard done by. So the mistake he did there was he was running, unfortunately, touching John Brooks. That means when he touched the ref, unfortunately, you need to have a yellow. But let's say it was a foul given. You don't give the first yellow, you don't get the second yellow. The second yellow is a mistake, obviously, from Kuti, which is agree on. But before that, he was the one that competed like a very passionate for the first corner, compete on that duel, and the second duel, and we scored the 2-1. So you need to accept, if you have passionate players, that it's part of it.
And finally, for me, look, we mentioned at the start 8 days gap, which seems a bit strange this time of year that you've got that gap. For you as a manager, is there a bit of almost you've got to get the balance right in terms of giving players time off because there's 8 days. The fact it's Christmas as well, players want to spend time with family if they can, but also looking at the current situation, 14th in the league, that this is an opportunity to get the players in, work on things that you don't necessarily get to do when you're playing midweek, weekend games.
I think it's the first full week we had since August, so it's pretty welcome that we have that. And this week we actually handle in the same way I would have done with any other week. If it was not Christmas, it was still done the same. So we have 2 days leading to the game, day off, 2 days. So today and tomorrow, and then off on 25th, and then 2 days. Then it's perfectly fit the Christmas family schedule, which is very good. And I'm a big believer of having be top professional, and that's something I believe the players are and should be, and some need to be guided more than others. But also they are grown-up individuals that if I need to hold their hand the whole time, we have a bigger problem, in my opinion. Then the way to make sure everyone does need to have hold their hand, that can be, of course, that can be part of a journey. But this I will do any other day. But I also believe in clear communication. So I believe in when I said why we trained tactical today, after 2 days off to get the body going, why we trained set pieces extra today. I expect them to be absolutely bang on it. Tomorrow we have a sharper, intense training. So everyone after training can get out of here because they want to spend time with the family, because I think that's hugely important. 25th off, and then we meet a little bit later on the 26th. But that also, that they need, of course, to pay back being professional. So spend time with the family is, of course, fantastic. And then, so that's just, so the only thing I do a little bit different is probably meeting a little bit later on the 26th. The rest is the same. You're welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
See you again. Since the beginning of the season, you dealt with a lot of injuries. You got plenty of games throughout the festive season. How confident are you that the current squad, you got enough depth in the squad to overcome this busy period with positive results? I'm
confident we can get good results. Of course, you always want a fully fit squad. But right now we have the players available, and we need to deal with it and find a way and get good performances out there and results.
2 questions about Crystal Palace, please. First of all, about the manager, Oliver Glasner. They suffered a big defeat recently against Leeds, but in general, how impressive have you been with Oliver's work at Palace, winning the FA Cup, taking them to Europe as well?
I think Oliver done a top job at Palace in many ways. Really impressive. Clear identity of the team. Defend low. Very compact, very difficult to break down. Incredibly good on the counters. Probably one of the best in the league. Added, I think it was last season as well. The end of last season, definitely this season as well. So very good on set pieces as well. One of the best on corners. Added long throws also last season. So very strong on set pieces as well. And also when they build, have a clear identity with their 3-4-3 position. So done a really good, impressive job.
Can I ask you about the system they play at Palace? It feels like a very similar system that Man United play. And while Ruben Amorim is still trying to figure this out, at Palace they're getting a lot of praise for that. As an opposition manager, what's the biggest challenge of facing that and try to find a solution?
I think there's a lot of similarities in the way the two are approaching it. If I'm honest, that's a little bit different. I think one is more zonal, the other one is a little bit more man-oriented defensively. But on the ball, a lot of the same patterns. But you can't compare Man United and Crystal Palace. It's two different beasts.
Hi Thomas, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Apart from the results aspect, from the outside it looks like your team is an angry team, a team that needs to maybe learn how to just keep its emotions in check. We've seen a few times this season examples of that, maybe when the players came off the pitch and didn't shake your hand. Again, we saw it on Saturday when you talk about the captain going up and touching a referee. Is that a fair comment that maybe while being intense and wanting to give everything for the shirt, they just need to calm down a bit?
I understand why you asked the question, because that was definitely the topic after the game, which is probably fair. I think it's two different situations. If you are talking about a player that's a little bit disappointed by seeing subbed off or disappointed with his own performance or whatever it is, I think that's two different things. I think it was more fair if it happened 2 to 3 times the season, what happened in the game. I think it happens sometimes. If you don't play with your emotion, don't play with passion, you don't play to win, then of course you also need to have a cool head. Of course, that's part of it. So the answer is no.
At Brentford you have very different players to the players you have now at Spurs, but I don't sometimes recall quite feeling like this after games and you having to speak about this after games.
No, I think you're right. But again, I can't remember. Even now, we played a lot of games this season, so I can't remember another game like this. I think this was hopefully a odd one out, I must admit.
And finally from me, is this the most difficult time you've had as a manager? This kind of 4 or 5 months that you've had here? Because generally at Brentford, after the opening 10, 12 games, it was just success all the way. It hasn't been like that here, and I know you said at the beginning of the season you expected to lose some games, but you probably didn't expect to be sitting here at Christmas in 14th in the table and with a home record that is not very good, to put it politely.
This season or in general when you speak about
this season?
Okay, thank you. I think that's important. I can only affect what I can affect. I may be good, but I'm not that good. I think I see a lot of similarities to my first head coach job. Of course, completely different scale. This is, of course, a massive club. One of the biggest clubs in the world. So much focus on it, so that makes it, of course, bigger and a different challenge. But I see a lot of similarities when I had my first head coach job in Brøndby and here, where you try to build something over time, and you inherit something that you need to try to get right with a lot of good people around me. And then this, where this makes it extra, how can you say, challenging, is of course that we play Champions League and Premier League at the same time, and I try to improve while we are driving 100 miles an hour. But that's part of it. That's a good challenge. I think I see a lot of good things we improve, but we of course need to. It's all about how can we have even more consistency in performances. It's all about that. How can you create consistency performances day in, day out? That's the thing we're working on every single day. Thank you very much. Likewise.
Thomas, you said after the game the other day that you've been working really hard with the team on kind of getting over setbacks and bouncing back from setbacks. Is that through like a sports psychologist or through you or the coaches? How does that work?
That I think that's with me and the coaches, and of course, how can I say, with the experience we had, I worked with a lot of performance psychologists in my career, and some of their tools we try to use, of course. So reinforce good messages, good habits, and that's how can you install that in training? We haven't been able to train that much. How can you keep talking about it before games, during games, after games, before games? So I think that's a big part of it. So for example, even though it looked bad in Nottingham in many ways, there was still some small good steps in a direction that don't need to underlying indicator we need to look into. And I think overall the team did well against Liverpool, as I said, after the game as well. That hasn't changed, especially afterwards the game back. I think afterwards the game back, I'm super happy with the first 30 minutes. They were really good, promising.
Players got Christmas Day off, I presume you have as well. Are you going to be able to switch off? Can you put the phone away and just not look at it, think of football at all?
Yes, that day I will try to get ahead of the curve and plan everything these 2 days, and then we have a good long day on the 26th. That will be the main bit. So that will be the main bit. It will be good to relax a bit.
Matty Wells leaving for his first managerial role. How sad are you to see him go? But also, what kind of manager do you think he can be? He's had a lot of influences in his career already.
Yeah. I think very happy for Matt. It's a great opportunity for him, and I think he's a very talented coach, and I think he got a good potential to become a good head coach. It's different when you stand out there on your own, but I think he got all the abilities to be able to do well. I wish him all the best and really want him to do well.
Just a very quick follow-up on that. You're going to replace him?
We will definitely look into replace him. When and how that would look is not clear yet.
George, please.
Thomas, hello. So just going back to Micky van der Ven and Alexander, you said they've spoken. Was that after the game on Saturday, or did Micky call him this week when he found out the severity of the challenge?
I just know they have spoken. That's the main bit.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
And I just want Fabio Paratici's been linked with a move away. What's your latest or your understanding with what could happen potentially?
I think first and foremost, it's not the first rumor I need to to speak about. If it's a staff director or player, in general, I'm not speaking about that. Just try to focus on the Crystal Palace game and probably also something for someone higher up in the club.
Okay, and I think you've done the double over Palace last season, didn't you, at Brentford? So
Yeah.
Can you just take anything? I know you obviously manage a different team now, but can you take anything from that when you're playing them?
Yeah, I think it's two different teams. So sometimes teams, how can you say, suit each other in different ways, good or bad. Of course, I have I know we face a team that is very well organized. I know they very good on the counters. I know they have such a threat going forward, I would say. So it's a game where you need to be super concentrated throughout it, so you don't give too much unnecessary transitions away, for example, or open space to defend.
Thank you.
Finish this section with George, please.
Hi, Thomas. What sort of effect will it have, I guess, just initially losing Matty Wells, obviously a really highly respected coach, and you obviously brought him in as well. Kept him on this season.
Now, of course, we when someone leaves, others needs to step up and take more responsibility. So that'll be down to Cameron and Justin and Andreas to take a step more forward. Of course, Justin already took a big responsibility, Andreas as well. But when someone is leaving, there will just be a little bit more to fill in for them. But I'm confident that they are capable to do that. I think back in the day, it was only one assistant you had, so I'm pretty sure we'll survive.
And just going back to Micky as well, you said yourself he's a very fair player. I don't think anyone would call him dirty. Are you kind of worried that Slot's comments and how kind of big they've obviously become could sort of change the perception of, I guess, referees mainly around Micky and kind of thinking he's not a fair player as maybe he was before?
Yeah, I hope not. I don't really understand the comment, but that's not for me to be too clever about. I just think if you look at that, there's not too much in it, and it's the first time, as you said, so I don't think it'll be a problem.
And just finally, in terms of Fabio, have you spoke to him since Saturday? And if you haven't, is that kind of normal? You're not sort of talking to him every day. You have different roles, obviously.
No. Yeah, we spoke after the game. Spoke both to Fabio and Johan. So yeah. But these days, Christmas. So I think everyone, when you have the privilege to be able to work from home, in this case, Johan and Fabio, I think it's fair they do that.
Hey, we'll end the broadcast section there and move on to the...
Thomas, do you mind if I do start with another question about Fabio? If he does leave, does that affect your plans for January? It seems so close to the window.
I think, again, it's one of these, a lot of rumours out there, which I'm not really commenting on, players, staff, directors. So, again, it's not for me to have a decision on.
No, I know. But what I wondered is, are your January plans robust enough to survive one of the two sporting directors leaving?
Yeah, I would say right now, Fabio and Johan is here. That's what I relate to. That's what I'm focusing on.
Dave?
I just wanted to take you back to your first job. You've already touched on it with Bromby. And when you got to the winter break, I suppose we'd say, in Denmark rather than Christmas, but the results had been a bit sticky, really. And do you remember in that first half of the season at Bromby? And then they improved significantly in the second half of the season. I just wonder if that is a parallel that you talk about the parallels between the two jobs here and there, whether that's something that, I don't know, gives you hope or gives you some, I don't know, if it's an interesting thing to...
No, I think it's, I think I said it before, both in Brøndby and Brentford actually. Brøndby didn't win the first 8 games and then we were unbeaten in 9. In Brentford we won, but we lost 8 out of 10 games and then we were unbeaten in 10. So I'm convinced we'll see a similar pattern here. Not in doubt of that, because I know how to make a competitive team, and we will make a very competitive team here as well. I'm not in doubt of that. To make it a little bit more complex here is the amount of games we are playing. How can you say, with rotations and physical load and mental load that just impact a team, and especially if a team not used to do that week in, week out.
Thomas,
Yeah.
we often hear that winning becomes a habit. Does losing become a habit as well? And I ask that because before you got here, there was obviously a significant period where losing in the league became accepted because of what the club were doing in the Europa League. And it feels like maybe losing is becoming easy or a bit of a habit.
I think I definitely think there can be habits that can go both ways. There's good habits and bad habits, and of course winning is a good habit and losing is a bad habit. But underneath that is the habit of every player, every staff member. How do you react when there is setbacks, as I talk about in games, and that's something we are really working very, very hard on, and that's something that I actually also think we have dealt okay in the same beginning. I think, for example, the Brighton away game is easily a game where, as I understood it the year before, maybe would have lost bigger than, or would have lost it. Now we came back and got 2-2. I think that was a good example. There was also a Bodø away, also, for example, that's a good example. So there's bits that are going in the right way, and then of course there's a lot of we're definitely not consistent enough to do that every 3 or 4th day, and that's no matter how much I hate saying it's just an ongoing thing we need to work on. And so, and that is small bits with habits for a player. I say you want a player to do recovery runs 10 out of 10 times, and he does it 5 out of 10 times. It's not doing like this, and then it'd be 10 out of 10 times. It would be maybe 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7. So that's how it works, as an example.
Yeah, and you're talking about sort of Christmas plans and things before. Can I check something with you? I'd heard that the some of the coaching staff were due to go to the darts and cancelled it after the Liverpool defeat.
I don't know.
Might be wrong on that. I wondered whether that's born out of something whereby as a club and as a staff you have to be careful about how you look like, you're behaving and sort of celebrating when the club's doing badly, and whether that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I was not going to the dart, but I didn't get the invite. Yeah, unfortunately, I was invited. I understand it. I understand. By the way, I don't know anything about it. I understand the perception of if things not going right, that you need to be aware how the public perception is. But I also think sometimes if you are top professional, what's the difference between going to the theatre or going to dart? If you do something in spare time where you clear your mind. So that I can only speak for myself. I trust myself to make good decision there, and others to make good decision. That we need headspace sometimes and generate energy again, and we're all a little bit different. But I expect people to meet in early and do their work and do everything they need to do.
Tom.
Hi Thomas. Speaking of headspace, you said last week that you're working 24/7 and you never thought more about football than you are right now. Just wondering, how are you sleeping at night? You're thinking about it all the time? Is tactics coming to you at 3 a.m. in the morning? What's it like to be Thomas Frank at the moment when you're thinking about football more than you've ever felt?
The good thing is, I've always been a good sleeper, so I think that's helpful. But of course, you can just feel that the thoughts are just underneath you. Sometimes we all experience that with work. Probably you guys in the job as well. There's just some nights you just think, the underlying is just these thoughts going, and there's just more. That they've been in a long time, because there's a lot of things to to sort out. We want to be successful, we want to be consistent, and there's all small different bits we like to improve. So I think that's part of it, and I think it's completely open and transparent. It's also clear we are searching to find a very consistent, competitive team week in, week out. And when you get small setbacks and don't get the right response, you try something new, or you stick to it. So that's the bit. So yeah, it's just it's normal. It's not the first time in my career I haven't found the team just instantly, but it's coming over time. So I know it'll come. Hopefully quicker, probably sooner rather than later.
Is there anyone particular that you work with, or somebody you've seen or come up against that he reminds you?
I think Luke is very talented, and I think he will end as what we will call an 8, in my opinion. And that's what I think he will end. But who knows? I think he's more than capable to play a 10, for example, or he can play a more midfield role from the side as he did against Liverpool. And I think he's a player that uses in different roles, which I think is hugely beneficial and hugely important to have that player that he can run in behind. He's very good at pressing. He's good on the ball. He can drive forward the ball. So you need different types. And for example, against Liverpool, we knew they came with at least 4, maybe 5 midfielders. In the end, they came with 5 midfielders. So we didn't have an extra midfielder. The way he defended the first 30 minutes, I think, was a big reason why I felt we was slightly on top in those 30 minutes. I think it's a big reason of that, instead of we played with 2, let's say, main wingers. And to have a player like him that can be that flexible, I think is very important. And then over time, he'll fall into a more, fixed position, where it's completely normal for a young player that maybe play a different position. And to be that flexible, I think it's huge boost. Look at Szoboszlai. I think we all think he's one of the best midfielders in the league. He's playing 10, 8, 6, right back, right winger, 9, centre back. So maybe not 9 and centre back, but he played all the other roles, and it's very important to have a player like that.
You mentioned before when you were talking about Archie Gray a while earlier this season, you said it reminds you of his skill set similar to Rodri. When we were talking about Van der Ven, you talked about Danny Agger a bit differently. You just mentioned Szoboszlai with Bergwijn. Is there a similarity there? Is anyone else that comes to mind?
I think that's maybe the one, just when you ask me when I'm on the spot here, because both of them has fantastic running power. Both of them drive with the ball. I don't know, Szoboszlai looks from the outside, he's a good personality. Lucas is a great personality, great character. I think he's a big part of the future we try to create here.
And just lastly, obviously the January window's just around the corner. When it comes to anyone you might sign, how important is it that that player is totally sold on the Spurs project and your project?
Key in every aspect. They need to be fully committed. Any player we sign needs to be fully committed on the project. No doubt about that. So yeah, very important.
Well, in that sense, if you sense in negotiations over any particular player that they're not completely sold, would you just walk away straight?
Yeah, not a doubt. I think characters for me, as I said many times, is the most important thing, and I need to buy into so we are aligned. That makes it easier for me to say, hey, remember the bit I said about this. Yeah, you do. Then it's a little bit easier to have consequences.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Happy Christmas. Yeah, thank you likewise. Okay.
See you soon.
See you soon. Yeah.